New Strife Talk, Reason Gaming Special. Hello, my name is Vexy, and with me is my co-host Tintinfish Joe. Joining us
Hello.
as panel members this time are the guys from Reason Gaming, which is Blanks, Matopi, Thatchy, and Wolf Joe. Blanks is the owner of Reason Gaming. Matopi is the manager for the newly acquired Reason Gaming team, formerly known as No Name Yet. And from No Name Yet, from the lineup, we have Thatchy and Wolf Joe, giving us all of the player perspective. Now, to get things underway, guys, enlighten us. Who is Reason Gaming?
Uh, Reason Gaming is a professional organisation that's been going along for, well, longer than I can remember now, which I took over from running about a year and a half ago now. We feature in games like CSGO, Heroes of New Earth, Call of Duty for the Xbox, and League of Legends. So we're sort of very MOBA orientated, and sort of just looking to expand on those fields because they're the most entertaining games to watch.
Where are you guys based? North America or Europe?
We're based in Europe. I mean, I'm from England. We've got teams from across Europe. We used to have a Smite team in America as well, but since they parted ways with us, we're mainly focused in the EU. But we're open to America as well, just because it's with the internet now. It's a global operation, so we can go wherever we want to, really.
Excellent. And what made you choose Strife over, I don't know, anything else?
Um, Personally, when I got the application, the thing that made me choose it more than anything else is that it's an S2 game. I was a big fan of Heroes of New Earth, still am, and so to see, I've been following Strife from its early infancy, and was really excited to get the application. So was jumped to the chance to get into the scene this early.
All right. Now, and generally, like, what factors do you take into account when saying, okay, this is a part of Reason Gaming now. This is a game that's good for what we want.
The main factors we look at, especially with a game that doesn't really have a scene at the moment, is the players themselves. What their attitudes are like, if they're friendly, open to conversation, and building a community and being part of building a competitive scene. You don't want players at the top of the scene at the early stage to be people that don't take anyone else into account and just sit there and think we're the best. We're not gonna bother giving back to the game. You're looking to each player to make sure that they're going to give back as much as you put into them.
All right. Well, we just have a big competitive scene, as you saw with SPL, but why Team No Name?
Um, they applied. Um,
They said yes.
they asked me to join, and they dropped the magic Strife word, and I was like, yeah, I'll do. Why not?
So then I
But
asked. Oh, sorry. Go
yeah,
ahead.
so no, it's just they added me, and I looked into their stats, all the information they gave me. Spoke to them a lot. Looked into Strife and saw the directions it was heading, and just thought, yeah, it was the right move to make with that team.
Yeah, because this is something that piques my interest, and I'm sure that with me, a lot of other internet citizens. Um, I remember when I was a bit younger and started playing Dota 2 competitively, all I could dream about was, going to the World Cyber Games, becoming that rockstar type player. Um, so could you give us a little bit of insight behind the, behind what goes into taking that road to pro. Obviously, all it took in this case was the application, but I imagine that much like a job interview, you don't get an application and say, hey, somebody said, hi, can it be Reason Gaming? And you'll just go, meh, fuck it, yeah, sure. So, like Matopi, you're the manager. Um, we see this a lot. Pro gaming teams need managers. What goes into that aspect? How does a manager, what does a manager do? What's a typical manager day? And how is a application looked upon? What are core criteria for like saying, okay, are there and how does it go? Yeah, I have so many questions. I'm enthusiastic. Blanks, how are there like set targets? Do you need to perform well, or you're like out of like the lineup, much like in Major League Baseball?
Well, just to be honest, like back then I played competitive like Counter-Strike. Then I started to get like, more into the managing stuff, and I was always frustrating because we had a team, and I actually had to do a lot more different stuff like managing or search for new people or whatever. And then I just thought about it, like I started working. I don't have so much time anymore to play Strife competitive. And so Lincoln was asking me like if I want to be the manager, and I was like, yeah, why not? And then I actually started to searching like for good organizations. I had some organizations in mind, but they were all like based in German. And yeah, I made a list. I just looked for organizations who had a HON team, because I think organizations who still have a HON team are really into S2. Because we seen like a half year ago that good teams like Fnatic dropped their HON teams because they are not that much interested in HON anymore. And I spoke with organizations and they all said, no, we don't want to support an S2 game anymore, or we don't want to support Strife, because they think, no, S2 will do the same mistakes over and over again. But the pick up with Reason Gaming was like pretty lucky, and I'm actually, don't know, I'm really happy that this was happening. Like I contacted Adam, and yeah, I really liked his attitude. It was like he was not that serious. He was like funny, and actually we wanted like, you know, something serious and fun, because we all want to play this game professionally. Yeah, but we still want to have fun. Back then, when I started like played Counter Strike competitive, it was like a job, you know. But you don't had so much time, and I think the most important part is like you have fun and play competitive.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. But you know, as far as targets goes, Blank, could you enlighten us a little bit about that, you know, about that part? Because you know, much I imagine much like any other paid job, you do have to meet certain requirements. I mean, I can't go to work, you know, show up late to work and then not do anything. I have certain, you know, requirements I have to meet in order to keep getting my paycheck.
Yeah. As far as the Strife team goes, the rules aren't that vigorously enforced at the moment because it's such an early game. You know, we're just sort of seeing where the scene goes with the players. You know, make sure the team sticks. There's not so much requirements from the team. Obviously, if some guy starts missing official cups and events time after time after time, you're going to run into issues, and you're going to look to talk to him, sort it out, or replace him. But as far as sort of, you know, 3 strikes you're out, it's never been that serious with me. I like to run organizations from a friendly point of view to make sure, you know, you get the players on your side and be their friends, and then from that lead them. And you know, they're far more responsive than just saying do this, do that. You know, whether they agree or not agree. You can't really be a strict boss in this industry without a little bit of, you know, without meeting some resistance, because esports, it's not a profitable industry for this unless you are the top 1% of the top 1% game. Yeah, they're doing it in their spare time, on top of a job, on top of schoolwork, on top of, you know, their real lives. So they're not going to want to listen to these strict rules that you're forcing them to do on something that they do for fun.
Okay, I get that. Now traveling into picking your battles, um, what are the factors you look for in competitive play in tournaments? When obviously, like right now you picked up a team, you got into Strife, and there's no League of Legends type tournaments going on. You can't say, okay, this year team no name yet, or team formerly no name yet, or you know, Team Reason Gaming is going to win $5 million in the Strife finals. We're not at that point yet. So looking into this year, say there's 10 Strife tournaments popping up, maybe 20. What are the factors that weigh into deciding if a team gets to play in that tournament or not? Is it solely up to the team? Is it something between like the employer and the manager? And how and you know, when you've answered that question, I want to delve into the subject a little more, because I'm also very curious to see how the relationship employer um, versus team manager works.
Sure. As far as tournaments go, with our teams, we don't force teams to go to events. They'll come to us and say we want to go to this event, this event, this event, and appear in this online event and this online event, and we're like, that's fine. So we can deal with it on a case-by-case basis and make sure that everything runs smoothly, so we don't have any surprises. It's all discussed out front and openly to make sure that everything is met and make sure that everyone stays happy.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But from that we can. I've completely lost my train of thought now.
That's okay.
I had a coughing fit halfway through that, and it just all went.
Well, generally, how many teams do you have for each branch of games? Like, how many teams do you have like per MOBA under your umbrella?
So far we've only ever had one team per game that we support. We've toyed with the idea of picking up academy teams, but we sort of want to keep things at the higher level rather than split our resources and split our time into doing top level and lower down. I run another organisation as well that's mostly community based, so we tend to shove teams that way if they want to be more casual or sort of play for the lower tier tournaments.
Okay, doke. Well, speaking of tournaments, SPL was a gigantic hit this past weekend. What did you think about SPL? Is that what you're looking for in this type of community?
Yeah, I was really impressed when I wasn't following Strife until this team got in contact with me. So when I saw that event and saw the amount of teams that had entered, I was really impressed for for such a young game to have that sort of turnout and that sort of caliber of play as well, just hammering through. It was it's really promising for the future of Strife.
What in particular did you like about SPL? Was it the graphics? It was the graphics, wasn't it?
It was the graphics. It had to be the graphics.
Everybody was so stoked about the graphics.
Alright, but is there anything you thought like could be improved with SPL, or something you would like to see out of SPL?
I only saw SPL from looking back at it after it had happened, so the input I can give is very, very limited. But from what I can see, it ran, it worked, and all they got to focus on now is pushing that and making more teams sign up next time, and really sort of growing the scene from the inside.
Tying into this, Tachi and Wolf Joe, how do you feel about going to tournaments now? I mean, when you were no name yet, you were just I don't mean to be derogatory here, but basically you were just a couple of guys playing together with like a clan tag, like people gathering in Counter-Strike lobbies, or in this case, gathering in like a Strife tournament. And sure, like Flaming Cow, that had a clear goal where if you would win, you would get money as a reward. You'd get prize money. But do you feel different playing Strife right now because you know that you're like tied to an official name and there's a clear set future to work to?
Put down that pizza, Wolf Joe, and answer us.
Put down. I just was wondering if Sachi wanted to go first. But yeah, our team didn't exist like 1 week before Flaming Cow tournament, and it was solely like founded due to that. So we didn't even know if we wanted to like exist after that tournament. Our goal, of course, during Flaming Cow was to go first, which we didn't reach. We went second, and Supernatural got first, but we were still pretty confident with our results. And yeah, then it went on. We played in Strife HQ, and then we wanted to strive to be more, wanted to be the best team in Strife currently. So we were pretty surprised when like Reason Gaming contacted us, or we contacted them, and they said yes. And I think it's overall good for the game.
I think so too. I think that I'm not at liberty to talk about everything that's been going on, but I do have thanks to Strife Talk, I have been. There were a couple of opportunities where I got to talk to some people behind the scenes and some bigger names, and I know that there's other established names. That's the only way I can phrase it. I know that there's other established names looking to pick up teams. And I'm really glad to see Reason Gaming making this first move and really helping putting Strife on the map as a more serious game, because I've brought this up on many Strife talks before. I don't really like how when people market a game with like easier going graphics and different flavored heroes such as cat heroes like Moxie, that instantly gets branded as a non a non-valid game for competitive play. That basically gets boiled down to this is a rebrand of Hello Kitty Online Adventure. And I'm really glad to see that Reason Gaming is taking this step. And what we're currently seeing in the Strife landscape is, since the launch of SPL, that teams are popping out of the wild to compete in this ongoing event. Because if anything, for you as a player, it's going to be a very rewarding experience to better yourself as a player. But like with teams like Reason Gaming popping up, that's just so good to get that competitiveness going. To get like that rivalry going, that good competitive flavor going down, like where new teams are popping in and saying, "Hey, you know what? Reason Gaming, we're gonna take you down." Where you get like that really battle of the esports, because again, League of Legends. Taking League of Legends as an example, esports is serious business.
That is correct.
Nice save. Yes, there wasn't a question in that. But talking about the serious business part of things, Matopi, I brought this question up before. Uh, I I just can't really picture a manager position for teams, because we all know that like the pro teams are treated like rock stars in other MOBAs. What does the management job entail exactly, and how's the relationship with like the employer?
Well, it's just like, I try to help them so that they have like more comfort and time to play, so that they should focus on that. And I actually try to set up scrims every time. Yeah, we have this channel in Skype where I get like every team manager or captain in, and just try to pick up scrims and try to set up stuff. I just ask my guys, hey, do you want to play today? And if they have time, it's okay. If not, yeah, then they're probably going to play not. And I just try to improve the scene as well. It's just like I don't manage my team, but I just also try to manage more the esport part. Yeah, I keep track of new people and new teams. So when I found like new good players, I'm just watching them and keep them on my mind.
Yeah, I feel like the job for Mutopi also right now for us is that he kind of takes some burden of our players. So we get like like he said, organizing scrims, like doing stuff we're not getting like we're really playing the game and trying to scrim, and he's like doing more organizational stuff.
One question I have for you, Reason Gaming, is where's Thatchy? I swear he's in this room.
Oh, hello, friends.
There he is. Welcome, Thatchy. Well, how many hours a day do you guys try to scrim? Like, do you have a quota saying we have to do this amount of practice on these type of lanes with these type of characters?
Okay, so currently with our scrimming schedule, it is really inconsistent. Some days we could do like 4 or 5 hours, like on a really good day. But the thing is, the scene's really small. There's not a lot of teams that are at a high caliber, which we are able to scrim. There's the American teams, which we aren't able to scrim that often because of the different time zones. The only times they're able to scrim us is like at 2 a.m. in the morning for us. So it just makes like there'll be some days where we just don't get scrims. Ever since Supernatural disbanded, we've had a lot more trouble. We've recently found a new team which we consider to be really good, and we're actually really impressed by their play, named the Chubby Ducks. And they've been working as our primary scrim partner currently, and they're actually helping us improve our play a lot. And I think we can like grow as a team significantly from scrimming against them.
All right, good.
Trying traveling back to the ease of things, Matopi said he manages making things easier for you guys. We know that there are certain organizations, take Denial for example, or you have Team Solomid, that have those gaming houses set up with the core purpose of getting all the gamers together, so that it's way easier for them to get their daily practice in. Um, is that something that Reason Gaming has on the map? Like, are we all gonna have a big house with giant boxes of pizza stacked in the garage for Tachi?
Well, we've thought about it, but obviously the scene needs to grow significantly. I'd be happy to go to Germany. Currently, it seems like the team would be all up for it. I'm not sure about Runkrelf, but I think if the scene was big enough to be able to make the kind of money to support that, it would definitely be in our would consider it.
And what about flying towards tournaments? Blanks, is that you're obviously active. Reason Gaming's obviously active in other games. Um, Say that there's a tournament with prize money. Does Reason Gaming pay for the tickets, or do teams have to pay for their own tickets? What's common courtesy in the competitive gaming landscape?
Normally, when it comes to an event, we cover, if it's in a different country, we'd cover absolutely everything. So flights, accommodation, entrance. For players that are already in that country, depending on how far they have to travel, we may not do the travel. If it's just sort of a drive down, a drive across a few towns, trying to work out that sort of expense, it's not worth worrying about for the greater cost of the event. So yeah, it's whatever the team needs help with, we support that.
On totally unrelated topic, I am going to quit Strife Talk, quit my life as a talk show host, and I'm going to become a pro gamer.
No, you're not. Spare us.
Yeah,
I think I remember.
we pretty much coined this a couple of episodes ago, where because Strife lacks a jungler, where we coined this new term where we say blame it on Vexy instead of blame it on the jungler. Because
That's not true.
bringing me in the game is probably a guaranteed loss, but hey. So no,
well,
I'm not going pro any time soon.
You can play with me on your team. Like
It's
I've
a.
played 2 heroes.
Well, say, Blanks, how often do you play Strife, or how long have you played Strife?
I've been playing Strife since the open beta weekend they did a month or 2 ago. I've been playing since then. I've probably played about 20 games. And just really enjoying it.
Who's your favorite character so far?
So far, it's a flip between Ray and Rook.
Good man.
Ray
Well,
mainly because Ray was the first hero I played, and I fell in love with him instantly because of the Doctor Horrible singing on blog quotes.
There you go.
I was like, yep, that's my character right there.
Actually, do you like the art style compared to like League or Dota? About on par, or?
Yeah, I think it's ahead of League. I think they've done a really good job there. Dota, it's trying to compare Dota and League, and trying to put cartoony MOBAs in the same categories as sort of more serious looking MOBAs. It's kind of tricky.
Yeah, it's kind of preference, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, you can tell. League and Strife are very similar in the abilities and the idea of summoner spells and pet spells and hiding in grass, whereas Dota and Heroes of Newerth are very line of sight orientated and activatable items rather than activatable abilities. So yeah, the two, it's like 2 different genres inside the MOBA genre itself.
It's Marky X made a very excellent comment on this actually. He said that basically what Strife is currently doing for MOBAs is what games like World of Warcraft have been doing for MMORPGs, where these common issues that everybody's like in pain about are being resolved, such as relating to MMORPGs, losing your experience upon death. And it's very similar in Strife. I mean, take Death, for an example. If you die in Strife, it's not so punishing as in other MOBAs. Like the time it takes you to get back into your lane is significantly shorter than in other MOBAs.
Yeah, I mean the main thing that impressed me with Strife is the new ideas they've added, like the speed boost you get out of spawn. That's a great time saver for the start of the game, and when you die and you have to run back to lane. And then also the sharing of gold on last hitting. That just eliminates 90% of arguments in public games. Like, oh, you stole my last hit. Shut up, go away.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Items too. And that's a really clever feature, and it works well.
I think a cool side effect of it is that it also, without even realizing it, it trains you for other aspects that are way more important in other MOBAs. Like, so if say you have somebody in your lane that's doing the last hitting, then you can focus, if you're melee, on positioning for zoning.
Yeah, completely.
Well, actually, a question for kind of everybody here in the room is, I guess, did you all see the video about the Strife Talk with the top of competitive gaming?
Which one do you mean?
About the cosplaying contest. It was posted on Reddit a while ago, but
Yes, I saw that.
yeah, they were mostly talking about like leaving Strife mostly as a community-orientated or community-ran type of deal, the competitive scene. But is there anything you'd like to see S2 kind of do for the competitive scene?
Well, I think they need at least a little bit of interaction. You can't start it like if you leave it just for the community, nothing will happen. I mean, look how much not gold, how much money like Valve spend on international and how much money League spend on their competitive scene. I think if you just leave it for the community, it will fail. But I'm not sure.
Maybe not fail, but won't be as elevated or as high
Yes.
as it could be.
Especially in the beginning, in my opinion. I mean, look at the international right now. They have like a mixed model where they had a set amount of money they put in, and then you could buy the compendium, like the last international, and it's like the amount of money they got from it is so insane, and the players get benefits of it. It's like a Kickstarter in a game for a competitive scene. It's genius.
Genius. All Gabe Newell's rolling in money right now.
The main thing that Strife or S2 need to do with Strife is not fall into the same traps they did with Heroes of New Earth, because with HON they were ahead of the curve with MOBAs. It was before LoL, it was before Dota 2. They had the market, and they didn't strike quick enough, and they sort of bided their time. It was like, oh yeah, we're the only thing around, and then other things popped up all over the place, and everyone went to those games. I mean, they still do the DreamHack events and the HON Tour, but if that was all left to just community, there wouldn't be a scene left there in a game that's only a few years old. So I think leaving it to the community would be a mistake on their part.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think that having a competitive scene is actually really vital to the marketing of the game. Like, competitive scenes bring you so much attention. Like, as you can see from Riot and Valve, they've put so much money into the competitive scene. They've gotten so much publicity out of it, and it's come out with them both being extremely successful games.
I think one of the things that just added fuel to the fire was the fact that when Dota 2 came out with the international event, with the first international, that Riot was just kind of like in that, no, we're having none of that, and both games just kept chucking money at it, just upping that hype, because what little hoodlum behind a PC doesn't want to win $1 million?
Yeah. Like, there was a nice Reddit post, like, whoever wins the next international is like the highest grossing esport player. Like, every 5 of them is the highest grossing esport player throughout every scene. It's pretty big.
Now there's another thing. I'm just going to derail the conversation a bit. There's another thing that I've been giving thought. Like when I'm just a player that mostly solo queues and teams up with the guys that want to play with me. So I don't really have very deep strategies going into the game. And when I read a patch, I just go like, oh, Claudessa's a little bit has been nerfed a little bit. She's not as strong right now. Featherstone nerfed a little bit, not as strong as right now. Um, how do you guys, now that you're like a team, a legit team being picked up, does this do you look at patches differently now? Do they dictate your strategies? How does a patch like affect you going into tournament season? Is there like something that happens there? Like you see this patch, you go like, oh, we have to rethink all of our lineups, all of our strategies, or isn't there really a big difference compared to like solo queue players?
But with the most recent patch, there wasn't that much for big changes. Like you said, you actually summed up pretty much how our players did. Fatstone got a little nerfed, Claudessa got a little nerfed, but we still consider them really strong heroes. But like for the patch before, with the healing rod changes, we had so much discussion because we considered that to be changing the meta significantly. It could have changed the hero pools significantly. Like we consider Hale not to be as strong anymore because he relied on healing rod to keep him afloat in lane and dragon shield just so he can't get poked down and destroyed by ranged heroes like Moxie and Rook. Now we consider him more of a niche pick. However, we're still going to play him. Wolfjo is a brilliant Hale, and we like compared to before when we didn't have a team, we'll just sit down, we'll talk about it, we'll play some games, we'll try everything out, and then we'll just keep talking about it more. Like we've even got a spreadsheet at this point where we're rating items, we're putting down thoughts on matchups, who beats who, and there's lots of alterations, especially with the most recent patch. And overall, I think it does depend on the patch, and I don't think there's
Yeah.
another point there.
Well,
Yeah.
we talk about how often you guys play together. How often you guys like take time to experiment with different builds and different characters?
For me, every game that
It
isn't
also
competitive.
Yeah, it's also dependent. Like you experiment if you first start experimenting in pubs where you just try out new builds and value them by yourself if they are viable, and then you need to try them in a scrim because a pub and a scrim is a totally different how's it called? Environment. That's the word. And coming back to the patch thingy, like it was really, really different. Like when the big patches and the soft resets before the tournaments hit, like we were really, really fearing that everything will change and we don't have enough time and we need to grind our pets and everything to get on the level to compete. It was really, really frustrating, especially the second reset of the pets. So we needed to grind really, really hard.
Damn shame. I don't think there's much else we can talk about. I mean, anything else you guys want to talk about or have questions about? Or Blanks, anything else you want to say about Reason Gaming?
Nothing I can think of. What pet should I unlock next? That's the main question.
The good one.
There's a good one, okay.
Yeah.
The good one.
Well, the good thing here is you picked up like a 5-man party to give you personal Strife advice. So you now have 5 coaches.
Yeah,
5
but
personal
different
trainers.
Things. It's really annoying.
Yeah. That's a good question, I think, to end with. Is there much discussion going on within Team No Name yet? Is there like, do you have a clear alpha male in the team who's just like the uber dominant shot caller, or is it all pretty simpatico?
With our team, generally, there's an atmosphere where Runkralf is silent all the time, and occasionally he makes one brilliant call and we win the game off of it, which is really fun when he does that, but it happens like one every 3 games, but, we take it. Wolfjo is our primary caller. After that, I'd say I'm calling the second amount of things, but I'm focusing more on giving information to everyone else. And then with Lincoln's and John, they're giving out a few calls. We're not like a strict one guy's talking and everyone else is listening to him. It's pretty democratic, and we quickly decide what decision we consider to be the best and then execute it at the highest level that we can.
Okay, thanks. Now, as a final question to draw the show to a close, um, Matopi, Blanks, and the rest of Reason Gaming, for the viewers that did manage to make it into the stream, for the people that are watching, or for the people that will listen back to this podcast, if you want to get picked up by a professional organization, what is the...
Right. This is
Oh, he
right,
did
right.
it.
Thank you for
I
typing,
did
Joe, and really...
Sorry.
Okay, so, like I said, let me just start over with the question. Okay, so Blanks, Matopi, and, you know, the rest of you guys from Team Reason Gaming, say that there's viewers listening right now to the video, or looking at the video on demand, or listening to the podcast, and they want to get picked up by a professional organization. What is the tip that you can give them? How must they proceed?
From an org point of view, I mean, the main thing is be friendly, be approachable, be even marketable. Like a team has to be worth something to the organization, not just you don't need to be the best team in the world, but if you stream, if you have active Twitter, Facebook, like, all of those things add up to you promoting the sponsors that support the org, which will in turn support that team.
Yeah, it's actually true, because I actually, before I applied to Reason Gaming, I actually prepared a lot, and when I wrote with Blanks, he just wrote like after like 1 hour, he said, you're really prepared, and I was like, yeah, sure I'm prepared.
The thing is, you didn't need to be, did you? Because you're like, oh, new game, Strife was like, yeah, you're in, you're done.
Yeah, okay.
Welcome.
This is a short story actually.
I actually have a question for the Reason Gaming guys, not particularly Blanks, but more the players. Is creep blocking was a thing in this game right now, but since the game is very, very push heavy, do you think it's really worth the creep block at this point?
The thing with creep blocking is you block your creeps, and that actually accelerates the rate that you push at. There is a point, if someone doesn't creep block against you and you're playing in the duo lane, you can guarantee that you can block into your own tower, and if you're CSing well, you should be able to hit each one of the brawlers and take that goal, which will shove the lane back towards the enemy, since your creeps will not have taken anywhere near as much damage as the tower and your two laners can do, which causes you to be able to have this push. You're able to put down tower pressure a lot and out-level people, get your items quicker, and just snowball off of that. I'm not sure about the bottom lane. Maybe Wolf Joe can give you a bit of insight on that, because it is actually significantly different compared to the duo lane.
Yeah,
Tell us, Wolf Joe.
I agree on that one. The duo lane is more like Tachi said, building the creep wave, and the bottom lane it's about killing the other range creep first because it does the most damage in the creep wave, and then killing his lane faster so you get level 2, because after the first wave in bottom lane you get level 2, and this is a huge advantage to pressure your opponent and maybe outtrade him really, really early.
The other question I have is, do you feel the game might be a bit too snowballing? Is there a point you get to a certain point in the game where you're like, all right, we can breathe a big sigh of relief and don't have to try as hard?
Well, the problem is towers are like the main objective right now. So you get experience, gold, and division. Division is like the key right now, because you are forced to play more passive. The other team can expand faster or more undetected around the map and make better plays. So it gives you maybe a little bit too much of an advantage to get a tower. Maybe like another watchtower popping up when losing towers or anything would like prevent that, but I don't know right now. It's really hard to make a suggestion to fix that.
Oh, it just seems like towers cost very little in investment to take down, and then it pretty much just gives you control of that side of the map, since your creeps will be pushing past that point, so you have vision on that whole area, which means you can also take control of the watchtower, so you have all that vision as well, and your team doesn't have any vision, so you have control of the majority of the jungle. You start to have control of the Sindar and Baldir, and you'll just snowball off it. Like, the only way I can imagine to stop that is either buffing towers, so they aren't so easy to take down, because compared to other MOBAs, they seem significantly easier to take down. I understand that's most likely to shorten game length, and if that's although it makes a real rigid meta for the competitive scene where taking these towers are really, I would say, significantly more important than any other MOBA due to the lack of wards, so you're not able to get vision any other way.
Okie doke. We actually have a question for Blanks. This comes from viewer Atomizes. Why are you bad at Han?
Oh,
Explain
right.
yourself, Blanks. The community needs to know.
This is someone that spammed me on Skype demanding a shout out, so I refused to answer his question because of that.
I don't know.
Yeah, no, I'm bad at Han because he taught me, and he's even worse.
But there you go.
There you go. Mystery solved.
Myth
Because
busted.
of that, I won't name him because Samo is really bad at every game he ever plays.
Shots fired.
It's a Wild West out here.
Okay, I think that's all we had for today. I'd like to draw this show to a close. Thank you all very much for being here, all of the guys from Reason Gaming. This is the part of the show where everybody gets to plug their shit. I've been your host, Vexy. You can hit me up on Twitter using @SRSVexy. With me has been my co-host Tintinfish Joe, who we finally convinced to pick up Twitter. So please spam him all you can on Twitter using @TintinfishJoe. Wolf Joe Tachi, I believe you now have a lovely Twitter as well.
My Twitter URL is twitter.com/Fatchy2. You can check me out there. I'm going to start using it more actively due to Reason picking goes up. And you can also check out my stream at twitch.tv/thatchinguy.
Yes, and my Twitter is @wolfchu_strife, and my Twitch is twitch.tv wolfchutv.
You can support Wolf Joe by sending him pizza.
You can support everyone by sending them pizza.
Well, better send it to Lincoln's.
Yeah.
Everybody wants pizza. And of course, Blanks, you're part of Reason Gaming, so undoubtedly you'll have a couple of links to throw in here.
Oh, God, yeah. ReasonGaming.net. Oh, wow.
Are you the top pick on Google? If you type in Reason Gaming, will you guys be like the top pick?
I should hope so. Jesus.
Let's find
Yeah,
out.
I don't see why
There
not.
we are.
Main shout at the moment goes to Esport Clothing, the guys that do our shirts, because they're always on our side and they've never let us down. And yeah, don't follow me on Twitter because I rarely use it, but R&R_blanks.
Alright, there you go.
There you go. Strife Talk, Reason Gaming Special. Thanks all for being here. Catch you on the next one.